everybody, my legends. Welcome to the page. As you can tell, I did a thing. I bought another Suzuki. If you're new to the page, welcome. I'm a Suzuki addict. I've got 3 outside, 1 right here, and this new rig here, the well body. I've always wanted a well body and I finally got one. Unfortunately, the shackle bushes are pretty much non-existent. Very rough ride home. But anyway, I've got some new shackle bushes here. They're going to go in, but for what you guys are here for, most importantly, is the rears up front conversion. It's when you get some rear leaf springs and you make them fit at the front. I've put this leaf pack together for another car, for a short wheelbase Sierra, so I'm going to have to add another leaf to this because this is a little bit heavier than a short wheelbase, and it is running the G16B, which also adds more weight. So I'm going to add a pack to this, a leaf, sorry. And I've also retensioned these in the press, so they're good to go. I've got one a little bit more pressed than the other because there's always more weight on the driver's side, thanks to Suzuki putting everything on the driver's side. But anyway guys, I'm going to go through this conversion with you guys today. I'm going to do all the bushes front and back, but in this video I'm just going to do the rears up front. You can do this job one of 3 ways, I suppose. One being removing the leaf perch completely, cutting it off, re-welding it further back, doing a chassis extension at the front by like 40mm where the shackle bolts to the chassis, so just shifting that mount further forward by about 40mm. Another way you can do it is if you haven't got a welder or a grinder or the time or patience, you can just drill a new hole in the hanger just further back. That's probably what I'll go with today. Drilling the hole further back, leaving the front where it is, and just having that shackle on a sharper approach. Rather than shifting the mount forward, you have it back. So that'll give you a comfy ride obviously, but probably a little bit more body roll. The third way about going about this is drilling the hole or leaving the rear hole, leaving the front hole, and just having your shackle on a really disgusting angle like this, which I have seen on a few rigs, and I'm just not a fan of it because it creates a lot of body roll. Your shackle should be on an angle like this, not really out here. It just allows a lot more play in the leaf, in the body. You want your shackle approach to be about that. So yeah, you can go about that a few ways. It all depends on the purpose with the car. If you want to just mainly off-roading and you want lots of flex, yeah, go for it. If you want a stable ride on the road, try and keep that shackle approach as nice as you can. With the fatty outside, the Suzuki you guys have probably seen, I've done the full rears up front conversion. I've shifted this perch here all the way back 40mm, and I've done the chassis extension at the front. So yeah guys, this is my 1990 Suzuki Stockman, aka Maruti Gypsy, because it was built in India. A little bit of a crossbreed. She's not Japanese unfortunately, but I've always wanted a well body. Anyway guys, this is a handy conversion for the Zooks, especially the short wheelbase ones, where you've got that real rigid ride and you want a bit of comfort, get a bit more flex out the front end as well. Having that longer leaf allows a bit more comfort, a lot more flex as well. I'll try and act like I know what I'm talking about, but I just know this conversion works. So anyway guys, I'll take you for a little walk around the new bus, and we'll go from there and get these leaf springs in today. So yeah guys, my Maruti Gypsy, aka Suzuki Sierra. There's my big girl outside. She's had the full rears up front conversion. She's nice and comfy on the road. I was going to put these leaf springs in Zeus, the other ute out there, but I've decided to sell Zeus and keep this one and do the conversion on this. My well body 1990 Suzuki Sierra, and the project car, the Holden Drover, as you guys know all about. Now guys, I'm going to get stuck into this job. Alright, so I'm not really going to run through step by step on what you're supposed to do to remove your leaf springs, but just make sure you've got your stands on the chassis, because obviously you're going to be working on the suspension, so don't axle stand the suspension. What I also forgot to mention earlier was the reason why people leave the rear hanger and have the shackle running like this
is because they're running the short wheelbase, and if you run that, your wheelbase is actually lengthened running these longer springs. So this is why you even out that gap. You keep your axle central, you move this back whatever 20-30 mil, and you move that 20 or 30 mil forward to get that center point the same, you know. This is long wheelbase, so I definitely don't want to be stretching it any longer. All right, so absolute death trap with these bushes. Same deal at the front. Not much bush left there at all. This is untouched. I've not touched this. All I've done is put it on axle stands. So yeah, it wasn't a fun drive home. My favorite thing to do when buying a new Sierra is yeeting that. Absolutely pointless, especially because this has been previously lifted. They've the dodgy shit on this car. They've added a 50mm plate where it originally bolts onto. One had snapped and the other was still mounted, so it was doing completely nothing. Even Rody disagrees. This is the snapped one. Absolute death trap, this car, I tell you. And the other still attached to the plate. Oh, this thing. And look at this body lift. Body lift where the rubbers aren't even doing anything. Oh man. Oh, it just gets worse. Woohoo! Suzuki's. Yeah. Alrighty guys, the leaf springs are out. I'm not here to babysit you and teach you how to take a leaf spring out. If you want to do that, you're going to have to shop elsewhere. We are here for the rears up front. So, you're gaining probably only about 50mm. There's a rear leaf versus the front leaf. Obviously this is retention, so I'm losing a bit of length there. So, yeah, you're not gaining that much, but it's enough, you know. That little bit of difference goes a long way. Alrighty guys, I've drilled the new holes. I've held an alley block behind here and I've welded these up. I'm going to file that off. I'm going to shape this so it suits the eyelet of the new leaf spring location. And so yeah, it looks more genuine. I've decided for now I'm going to leave the front mount where it is. I'm going to see how it sits with this weight and go from there. If I need to modify that, I will. Alrighty legends, the leaf pack is ready to go in. I've tacked on these retaining sort of collars to stop the leaves from shifting when you're flexing and driving and twisting out of shape. Like I said, I trimmed this up so it's shaped nicer to suit the new bush. Alrighty guys, both leaf packs are in. Rear leaf springs up front. Yes, I need to fix this. The amount of stuff I've spotted on this car that needs fixing. Anyway, I'm just going to get this jack stands out, put the wheels back on, and yeah, see how she sits. Anyway, so yeah, a handy tip for pulling in and out your leaf springs: you want the diff free. You want all the weight off the diff, I suppose, all the weight on the chassis. I just put a luggage strap around the diff and hoop it around there. Then I can gauge the height. I can either lower it or heighten it if I need to raise this diff. So with these new pack, obviously the arch was greater, so the diff was higher. All I did was undo the luggage strap, and then it sat down onto the leaf pack nicely, and that allowed me to put the U-bolts on, blah, 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 all that. So yeah, keen to see how this goes. I might need some caster shims to correct the angle of the diff, but we'll see when it sits down. Alrighty guys, I did the test fit and it didn't work out, so I had to cut off the front mount and move it forward more. I believe, now that all the memory's coming back to me, you do have to cut off one or the other because these leaves are just far too long. The fact that I didn't cut off the back one and just drilled it wasn't enough. So, like I said earlier, that shackle angle was far too on a 45 where I want it more up this way. So yeah, I've cut this off, Just going to shift it forward a bit and then gusset it all up because obviously the chassis runs out. And I'm struggling to make videos because my dog just wants loves and kisses. Hey, all the time. You got to watch out for these spicy sparks as well, bub. Anyway, I'm going to get this tacked on and I'll show you a couple of bloody updates on it. Alrighty guys, so I've shifted the mounting plate. I've only tacked it on just to make sure it sits level and the ride height is matching the back. Looking pretty good. I'm not 100% keen on the angle, so I might shift them forward a little bit more. But what I might do before making that decision is lift up this wheel, get it to flex, see what this shackle does. Because what the last thing you want to do is for it to fold up, because that's what it did before. It folds straight up because this leaf is obviously a lot longer. So, all right, well, I've certainly put some truss in my tacks. Got big beast, still on all fours. Alrighty, my legends, I've cut off the spring perch once again and moved it forward a little bit more. All I need to do now is gusset the rest of the chassis here, put little triangles in. But yeah, they're both in a happy place, both sitting rather well. Nice bit of tuck in the front end. Not bad for standard shackles. You'd get more if you had extended ones, but I want to keep her safe and legal on the road. I'm going to touch on a few last little things, little finishing touches that I did to this setup. I ended up putting an extra leaf on the driver's side, just a short one, just because the driver's side always has constant load. So many more things are on the driver's side. So you're running a 4-leaf pack. After about 1,000 Ks or whatnot, you want to retorque these 4 bolts underneath the leaf pack. Make sure they're done up. After some time on the road, they do settle, so yeah, you just nip them right up again. But yeah guys, as you can tell, the front is absolutely loving this setup. Awesome tuck. It's got heaps more than the back too. The back's got a very heavy pack. I want to get to that and lighten it a bit because I'm not going to be carrying much load with this car. So yeah, I want to lighten that pack a bit so I get more flex out the back end. But yeah guys, pretty chuffed with this. Lots of flex for a front of a Suzuki anyway. Guys, I'm going to wrap up this video of my rears up front conversion on this Suzuki Sierra. I hope it's been beneficial for you guys and nice and informative. Hopefully it can help out a lot of people. As always guys, like and subscribe and hit up the Instagram, Sue and the Fatty. You'll see a lot of the Suzukis on there. A lot about the Suzukis anyway. Yeah, like and subscribe to the YouTube page as well. The rear end just doing its own thing. Definitely needs a leaf taken out of that. That is way overkill for Sierra. And it's got extended shackles at the back, which should create a bit more flex. So yeah, very impressed with this front end considering it's running standard shackles still. Cheers guys, I hope you've enjoyed. From Denmark, Western Australia.